You must be obsessed. Listen carefully. There is a version of you that keeps waiting for balance, a version of you that wants the perfect routine, the perfect mood, the perfect season, the perfect support, the perfect sign from the universe. But the people who change their lives rarely look balanced at the beginning. They look gone. They look unreasonable. They look like something inside them has taken over. They wake up thinking about it. They go to sleep thinking about it. They stand in a room full of people, but their mind is somewhere else, counting the reps, counting the hours, counting the attempts, counting the failures, counting the distance between who they are and who they said they would become. That is not normal. And that is the point. Normal people protect normal lives. Normal people ask for permission. Normal people wait until it makes sense. Normal people want the dream, but they also want the comfort that kills the dream. But you are not here to be normal. You are here because something in you refuses to live an ordinary life with an extraordinary calling buried inside your chest. You can call it discipline. You can call it hunger. You can call it madness. But there is a level of commitment where the world stops understanding you. And that is usually the moment you are finally getting close. Because obsession looks unhealthy to people who have accepted average. It looks extreme to people who never gave everything. It looks crazy to people who only dream in safe amounts. But winning has never belonged to the casual. Winning is for the obsessed, not the interested, not the emotional, not the people who talk big for 1 week and disappear when the work becomes boring. Winning is for the person who keeps showing up after the excitement is gone, the person who works when nobody is watching, the person who can sit alone in the dark and still say, "I am not finished." This is where your life changes, not when you get more talent, not when people believe in you, not when the timing becomes perfect. Your life changes when the thing you want becomes more important than the comfort you keep protecting. Your life changes when you stop being casual about your own future. Your life changes when you become obsessed. Here is the truth. Talent is beautiful. Talent gets attention. Talent opens the door. But talent alone does not stay long in rooms where obsession lives. Because talent can be lazy. Talent can be distracted. Talent can get comfortable. Talent can believe it is special before it has earned anything. Talent can start strong and disappear when the work becomes repetitive. But obsession does not disappear. Obsession comes back tomorrow. Obsession studies the details. Obsession watches the same mistake again and again until it understands why it happened. Obsession repeats the boring thing until the boring thing becomes a weapon. Obsession says, "I may not be the most gifted person in the room, but I will become the person nobody can ignore." That is why obsession beats talent. Not once, not sometimes. Over time, obsession beats talent again and again. Because the obsessed person does more volume. They take more shots. They make more attempts. They get more feedback. They collect more failure. They build more proof. They sharpen the blade every single day, while the talented person is still waiting to feel inspired. You might have talent, but are you obsessed? You might have potential, but do you think about it when nobody is reminding you? You might have a dream, but does that dream interrupt your laziness? Does it bother you when you waste time? Does it make you uncomfortable when you know you could have done more? Does it wake you up? Does it follow you? Does it pull you back to the work? Because if it does not, then maybe you do not have a dream yet. Maybe you have an idea. Maybe you have a fantasy. Maybe you have a version of yourself you like to imagine, but not a version you are willing to pay for. And that is the difference. Everybody wants the result. Very few people want the life required to become the result. Everybody wants the title. Very few people want the lonely hours. Everybody wants the body, the business, the respect, the freedom, the skill, the money, the recognition, and the peace. But very few people want the repetition. And repetition is where the real man is built. Not in the announcement, not in the post, not in the motivational mood, in the repeat, again, 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 until your hands know what your mouth used to claim, until your schedule becomes the evidence, until your work ethic speaks louder than your excuses. There is a trap waiting for every person with a serious goal. The trap is not failure. Failure is honest. Failure teaches. Failure gives you information. The real trap is normal life, comfortable conversations, easy entertainment, endless scrolling, noise that makes you feel busy while your future starves. People talking about everything except what matters. Games, gossip, drama, opinions, distractions, small arguments, small pleasures, small routines, small lives. And if you are not careful, you will spend years inside small things, while a massive calling inside you slowly goes silent. That is how people lose themselves, not in one dramatic collapse, but in tiny daily compromises. They delay, they drift, they say, I will start tomorrow. They say, I need to relax. They say, I deserve a break. They say, everybody does this. They say, it is not that serious. And one day they look in the mirror and realize nothing about them is moving. The dream did not die. They just stopped feeding it. The standard did not disappear. They just chose easier things so many times that easy became their identity. This is why you have to become careful with normal. Normal will ask you to calm down. Normal will tell you not to take it so seriously. Normal will ask why you are working so much. Normal will call your focus unhealthy. Normal will say, you have changed. And maybe you have. Maybe that is exactly the point. Because you cannot become exceptional while protecting every habit that made you average. You cannot fit in and stand out at the same time. You cannot chase a different life while living the same schedule as everyone else. You cannot keep one foot in comfort and one foot in destiny and wonder why you feel torn in half. At some point, you have to choose. Do you want to be understood? Or do you want to become what you were built to become? Because the path of the obsessed person is lonely for a while, not forever, but long enough to test whether you really believe in the work. Long enough to make you clap for yourself when nobody else is clapping. Long enough to make you become your own first witness, your own first supporter, your own first proof. You may spend months with only one person in the audience, you, and that has to be enough, until it is not a dream anymore, until it becomes a body of work, until people can no longer argue with the evidence. There is a version of you that knows exactly what to do. Not the version that scrolls, not the version that negotiates, not the version that waits to feel ready. The other one, the locked-in version, the one who stops talking and starts moving, the one who does not need to be convinced, the one who walks into the gym, the room, the studio, the office, the field, the desk, the practice, the project, and flips a switch. That version does not care who is tired. That version does not care who is watching. That version does not care who understands. That version has a job. When you enter the cage of work, you become the person the work requires. You do not bring your soft mood into that place. You do not bring your excuses. You do not bring the emotional chaos of the day. You do not bring the opinions of people who are not building anything. You step in, you shut the door, and you become dangerous to distraction. That is how serious people train their mind. They do not wait to feel like the person. They rehearse becoming the person. They create a mental switch. They know when it is time to work. The old self does not get a vote. The lazy self does not get a vote. The doubtful self does not get a vote. The tired self can come along, but it does not lead. Because if you let every feeling vote, your destiny will be governed by the weakest part of you. And the weakest part of you always wants comfort first. You have to build a higher command, a voice inside you that says, "This is what we do now. We work, not because it is easy, not because it feels good, not because somebody is clapping. We work because this is the price of the person we are becoming." That is obsession, not chaos, not random intensity, not destroying yourself for a week and quitting. Real obsession has structure. Real obsession has rules. Real obsession has a start time. Real obsession has a sleep time. Real obsession has standards. Real obsession removes the argument before the argument starts. Train at this time. Wake up at this time. Write at this time. Study at this time. Build at this time. Practice at this time. Do not say you are going to do something and then teach yourself that your word means nothing. Every broken promise weakens the mind. Every small defeat leaves a mark. Every time you say you will and you do not, you train yourself to distrust yourself. But every time you do what you said, something powerful happens. You build proof. You build self-respect. You build the private evidence that nobody can take away from you. At some point, you have to stop romanticizing the dream and start attacking the work. You do not need another sign. You do not need another perfect plan. You do not need to tell everybody what you are about to do. You need to do it. Do not announce the gym. Go. Do not announce the business. Start. Do not announce the comeback. Build it. Do not explain the obsession. Prove it quietly. Because the world is full of people preparing to begin, preparing to change, preparing to take life seriously, preparing to become disciplined, preparing to stop wasting time, preparing to become who they said they would become. And preparation becomes another form of procrastination when it never turns into action. The obsessed person does not worship preparation. The obsessed person respects preparation, then moves, because action is the great separator. Life does not reward the person who had the best excuse. Life does not reward the person who understood the theory. Life does not reward the person who could explain success perfectly. Life rewards the person who entered the arena, the person who showed up, the person who took the shot, the person who got embarrassed, the person who failed in public, the person who kept coming back, the person who made failure part of the process instead of proof they should stop. Show up, even if you get knocked down. Show up, even if your first attempt looks terrible. Show up, even if nobody respects it yet. Show up, because if you do not show up, you already know the result. Nothing, no chance, no feedback, no possibility, no miracle tones, no growth, no story. But if you show up, something can happen. Maybe not today, maybe not the first time, maybe not the 10th time, but the door only opens for people who keep arriving. So work like your life depends on it, because in a way, it does. Not your breathing life, your real life. The life where you respect yourself. The life where you become useful. The life where you become strong. The life where your family can look for the person who does not break under pressure and find you. The life where your future self stops begging you to take him seriously. That life depends on your work. And the work is not always emotional. The work is not always inspirational. Some days there is no passion. Some days there is no motivation. Some days there is only the task, only the hour, only the next rep, only the next sentence, only the next call, only the next step. And that is enough. Here is one of the simplest truths in the world. Volume changes the odds. The person who tries once is easy to ignore. The person who tries 10 times starts to learn. The person who tries 100 times becomes dangerous. The person who tries 1,000 times becomes unreasonable to bet against. You want success to become more likely. Increase the volume. More attempts, more practice, more shots, more drafts, more reps, more days, more proof, more work. Do so much volume that failure has to fight you every morning. Do so much volume that your old excuses get tired of chasing you. Do so much volume that the world has to adjust its opinion. Most people want certainty before they start. The obsessed persons who create certainty through volume. They do not know exactly which attempt will work, so they make more attempts. They do not know exactly which video, pitch, product, song, page, call, practice, training sessions, or idea will be the one that changes everything. So they keep creating, they keep shipping, they keep improving, they keep stacking. That is why volume beats talent. Talent wants to be recognized. Volume becomes undeniable. Talent wants the perfect shot. Volume takes 10 shots and learns from every miss. Talent wants the world to understand. Volume says, you will understand later. And this is where many people fail. They do not fail because they have no ability. They fail because they cannot tolerate the amount of boring work required before the result becomes visible. They want the harvest without seasons. They want the crown without the repetition. They want confidence without evidence. But real confidence is not a speech you give yourself in the mirror. Real confidence is a stack of undeniable proof. Proof that you got up. Proof that you trained. Proof that you finished. Proof that you kept your word. Proof that you stayed when quitting would have been easy. Proof that you can rely on yourself. Outwork your self-doubt. Do not argue with it. Do not beg it to leave. Build so much evidence that the doubt has no room to stand. When your mind says, you cannot do this, show it the receipts. Show it the hours. Show it the scars. Show it the attempts. Show it the days you worked with nobody watching. Show it the mornings you did not want to move, but moved anyway. Show it the nights you wanted to stop but finished anyway. That is built belief, not fantasy. Built belief. There is a stage where you are too different for your old life, but not successful enough for your new one. That stage is brutal. That stage will test you. You will not fully belong where you came from, and you will not yet be welcomed where you are going. You will be in between, too focused for people who waste time, too early for people who only respect results, too changed for the old circle, too unfinished for the new room. And that is where most people turn back, because they want support before evidence. They want applause before proof. They want the crowd before the work has earned a crowd. But the path of the exceptional person requires a season of being misunderstood. It requires a season of walking alone. It requires a season of clapping for yourself. Just one clap in the empty room. Again, 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 until the sound becomes enough to keep going. Do not hate that season. That season is not punishment. That season is training. It teaches you not to need validation. It teaches you to be internally driven. It teaches you to keep moving when nobody celebrates your discipline. Because if you need applause to work, you do not own your work. The crowd owns it. If you need praise to continue, you do not own your dream. Other people control it. But when you can work alone, train alone, build alone, Pray alone, study alone, write alone, suffer alone, and still keep going. Something changes. You become self-powered. And self-powered people are hard to stop. They do not need the mood of the room. They do not need constant encouragement. They do not need everyone to understand. They have a mission. They have a standard. They have an obsession. And one day the same people who called it too much will call it discipline. The same people who called you crazy will call you focused. The same people who ignored the work will respect the result. But by then, you will know the truth. They were not there when it was quiet. You were. They were not there when the only clap in the room came from your own hands. You were. And that is why the result belongs to you. Stop saying later. Later is one of the most dangerous words in a weak man's vocabulary. Later feels responsible. Later sounds patient. Later pretends to be strategic. But most of the time, later is fear wearing a calm voice. Later means not now. Later means delay. Later means comfort has negotiated another day out of your destiny. If you keep saying later, one day later will become your life. Later in life, I will be serious. Later in life, I will build it. Later in life, I will train. Later in life, I will change. Later in life, I will become disciplined. But later in life is built by what you do now. You do not become different by waiting. You become different by behaving differently. Be now what you want to be later. If you want to be strong later, train now. If you want to be respected later, keep your word now. If you want to be wealthy later, build skills now. If you want to be calm later, control your mind now. If you want to be free later, stop selling your attention now. If you want to be exceptional later, stop living like average now. There is no magical future version of you arriving to save you. There is only you, today, with the same phone, the same room, the same excuses, the same fear, the same 24 hours, the same choice. And that choice is simple. Will you feed the old life, or will you build the new one? Every day answers that question. Not your words, your work. Not your intentions, your calendar. Not your dreams, your repetitions. You can want it. You can talk about it. You can imagine it. You can write it down. You can pray about it. But at some point the work will ask for proof. And proof is paid in action. Easy feels good at first. Easy scrolling. Easy sleeping in. Easy excuses. Easy entertainment. Easy comfort, easy avoidance. Easy people. Easy choices. But easy has interest. Easy always collects later. Easy days become hard years. Easy choices become heavy regret. Easy comfort becomes a weak body, a weak mind, a weak future, a weak relationship with yourself. Hard feels worse at first. Hard training, hard study, hard sacrifice, hard honesty, hard repetition, hard rejection, hard discipline, hard decisions. But hard pays you back. Hard choices become an easier life. Hard mornings become confidence. Hard training becomes strength. Hard focus becomes skill. Hard sacrifice becomes freedom. Hard repetition becomes mastery. Hard truth becomes peace. This is why discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the doorway. The person you want to become is not hiding in the easy path. He is forged in pressure. Put pressure on the stone, and it can become a diamond. Put pressure on the mind, and it can become armor. Repetition builds armor. Doing the thing you do not feel like doing builds armor. Keeping the promise when nobody checks builds armor. Finishing what you start builds armor. Not quitting when quitting would be understood builds armor. And one day life will hit you. Pressure will come. Opposition will come. Loss will come. Delay will come. Fear will come. People will doubt you. Your own mind will test you. And if you have done the hard things in private, you will not collapse in public, because the mind knows. The body adapts. The spirit remembers. You have been here before. You trained for this. You suffered for this. You built the armor. One of the greatest obstacles to obsession is not the work. It is the fear of how you will look while doing the work. What if they think I am crazy? What if they think I am doing too much? What if they laugh? What if they call it cringe? What if they say I have changed? What if they think I am obsessed? Let them. Because the people who judge your obsession are usually not responsible for your future. They will need to pay the price of your regret. They will not carry the weight of your unused gift. They will not live inside your mind when you know you gave half effort. They will not sit in your chest when you realize you betrayed what was inside you. You will. So stop giving strangers authority over your life. Stop letting average opinions tax your ambition. Stop shrinking your hunger so people feel comfortable around you. You were not given this dream so everyone could understand it. It was not downloaded into them. It was downloaded into you. That is why they cannot feel the same urgency. That is why they can sleep on it. That is why they can joke about it. That is why they can tell you to relax. They are not carrying it, you are. And because you are carrying it, you have to protect it. Protect it from noise. Protect it from lazy company. Protect it from people who secretly need you to stay small, so they do not have to confront their own excuses. Protect it from the part of you that wants to be liked more than it wants to be free. It is painful to be misunderstood, but it is more painful to abandon yourself for acceptance. It is painful to be laughed at, but it is more painful to spend your life as a copy of someone else's comfort. It is painful to be different, but difference is the cost of becoming exceptional. Pick your pain. Internal conflict from pretending to be normal, or external conflict from choosing to become more. One of them leads to regret. The other leads to growth. There is a moment when the games have to end. No more pretending. No more half commitment. No more fake productivity. No more doing small chores to avoid the real work. No more cleaning the room while the mission sits untouched. No more waiting for the right mood. No more making your life look organized while the thing that matters is still being ignored. You know what the work is. That is what makes the excuse so heavy. You know. You know the thing you keep avoiding. You know the call, the page, the workout, the edit, the application, the conversation, the practice, the plan, the hour, the decision. The heaviest things in life are not iron. They are unmade decisions. And the longer you refuse to make the decision, the heavier your life feels. That stress you feel is not always because you are doing too much. Sometimes it is because you are doing too little of what matters. You are busy everywhere, except the place your soul keeps pointing. You are tired because you keep running from the work, not because the work is impossible. So get serious. Not dramatic, serious. Quietly serious. Dangerously serious. The kind of serious where you no longer need an audience. The kind of serious where you stop bargaining with weakness. The kind of serious where your calendar changes. Your environment changes. Your habits change. Your conversations change. Your standards change. Because a serious person does not need to be reminded every day. A serious person does not keep reopening negotiations with the same old excuse. A serious person knows the cost and pays it. If you have a gift, do not betray it. If you have a skill, do not waste it. If you have a calling, do not bury it under comfort. If something inside you keeps pulling you toward a certain work, a certain craft, a certain mission, a certain future. Take it seriously. Not every person gets the same fire. Not every person is haunted by a vision. Not every person wakes up with the feeling that they are supposed to build something bigger than the life they are currently living. If you have that, respect it. Because when you betray your gift, you betray yourself. The pain is not just that you did not succeed. The deeper pain is that you know you did not fully try. That is the pain that follows people. That is the quiet regret. Not failing. Falling asleep on the gift. Letting years pass. Watching less committed people pass you because they moved while you imagined. Do not become the person who had potential. Potential is not a trophy. Potential is pressure. Potential means there is something in you that has not been paid for yet. Potential means you owe your future a level of effort. Potential means the gift is waiting for your discipline to protect it. So do not take it for granted. Do not treat it casually. Do not ask for a special life while giving ordinary effort. If you want what few people have, you must become willing to do what few people do. Work when it is boring. Work when it is lonely. Work when you are not in the mood. Work when it feels like nothing is happening. Work when the result is still invisible. Because invisible work becomes visible power. There will be days when you do not feel chosen. Grind. There will be days when the dream feels far. Grind. There will be days when your body is tired, your mind is noisy, and nobody around you understands why you care so much. Grind. There will be days when you fail. Grind. Days when you look stupid. Grind. Days when your work gets ignored. Grind. Days when you are alone. Grind. Days when you wonder if the obsession is worth it. Grind. Because the method is not complicated. Wake up, work, learn, adjust, repeat. Wake up, work, learn, adjust, repeat. The world does not need you to make it mystical. It needs you to make it consistent. You do not need to be perfect. You need to keep returning. You do not need to feel unstoppable. You need to take the next step while you feel human. You do not need everyone to believe. You need to stop needing permission to begin. The winners always show up, not because they always feel strong, but because they understand that showing up gives life a chance to meet them. Opportunities do not call people who are absent. Growth does not find people who never enter the room. The door does not open for someone who stayed home, wondering what if. Be present. Be in the arena. Be where the work is. Be where the failure can teach you. Be where the next version of yourself is waiting. And when you do not know how you are going to win, treat every day like it matters anyway. Because it does. Every day is either proof or erosion. Every day either builds your belief or weakens it. Every day either moves you closer or teaches you to tolerate staying the same. There is a way to work that changes the meaning of failure. If you give half effort and fail, the failure humiliates you because you know there was more in you. You know you had energy for distractions. You know you had time for excuses. You know you did not go all in. But if you give everything and fail, that failure becomes different. It becomes data. It becomes training. It becomes evidence that you entered the arena. It becomes part of your story. The person who says, "I failed," is still more alive than the person who says, "What if?" Because what if never stepped inside? What if stayed safe? What if protected its ego? What if avoided embarrassment? What if kept its hands clean and its life small? But the person who tried has information. The person who tried has scars. The person who tried has proof of courage. The person who tried can adjust. The person who tried can return. And return is where success hides. not in the first attempt, not in the clean beginning, in the return, after embarrassment, after disappointment, after fatigue, after silence, after rejection, after being ignored. Return. That is obsession. Obsession is not believing you will never fall. Obsession is deciding that falling will never be the end. You get up, you adjust, you go back, you improve, you become harder to discourage, and eventually, the same life that used to break you starts shaping you. The same pressure that used to scare you becomes familiar. The same workload that used to intimidate you becomes normal. And one day, your old limit becomes your warm-up. So hear me clearly. You do not need to be the most talented. You do not need to be the loudest. You do not need to be understood. You do not need perfect confidence. You need obsession. You need a mission that cuts through noise. You need a standard that survives your mood. You need volume. You need repetition. You need to show up until the person you used to be no longer recognizes the person you have become. You need to work like someone is trying to take your future, because something is. Comfort is trying to take it. Fear is trying to take it. Average is trying to take it. Delay is trying to take it. The old you is trying to take it. And every time you choose the work, you take it back. Every hour you take it back. Every rep you take it back. Every page you take it back. Every attempt you take it back. Every lonely night you take it back. Every morning you rise, when the old you wanted to sleep, you take it back. This is not about looking obsessed. This is about becoming possessed by the standard, not by chaos, not by ego, not by proving people wrong, by the quiet knowledge that your life is too valuable to waste. You must become obsessed with the process, obsessed with improvement, obsessed with honesty, obsessed with volume, obsessed with keeping your word, obsessed with becoming the proof. Let them call it too much. Let them call it crazy. Let them call it extreme. Let them misunderstand the price until they see the result. Your job is not to explain the obsession. Your job is to obey it. Because somewhere in the future, there is a version of you who is not begging you to be balanced. He is begging you to be serious. He's begging you not to quit. He is begging you to keep going while the work still looks invisible. He is begging you to do the volume. He is begging you to stay locked in. He is begging you to become the man who kept his promise. And tonight, you answer him. Not with words, with work. Normal is over. Average is over. Half effort is over. The old agreement with comfort is over. From now on, you do not chase the dream casually. You build it obsessively. You work. You repeat. You improve. You return. You attack the day. You protect the mission. You become so consistent, so focused, so impossible to distract, that success stops looking like luck and starts looking like the only reasonable outcome. Because obsession beats talent. Volume beats fear. Work builds belief. And the person who refuses to stop becomes very difficult to defeat. So get up, lock in, do the work, and become the proof.